When you create and manage daily WordPress websites, you always need to connect between each other different apps, tools, and plugins. And this is very easy nowadays using plugins like Bit Integrations, which, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful for this kind of workflows. Bit Integrations is a platform connector plugin in WordPress. And when you use it, you can send unlimited WordPress data to more than 300 platforms. There is a free version, which is awesome to get started. Then there is a demo of the pro version if you're interested in upgrading. I will leave you all the links in the description box below. And even if this video is sponsored by Bit Integrations, I'm really actively using it on my own websites. And let me show you how this works. There are 3 simple steps. You select a trigger, that can be, for example, your Elementor Form or your WooCommerce orders, and then you select an action. What should happen, where these data should go, and how they should be stored. For example, you can send them to Google Sheets, to MailChimp, to any other email marketing platform, to Notion, to Asana, and so on. Then you need to map the fields, and here is the place where you connect the data from the starting app to their final destination. As you can see, there are more than 300 apps, and you can literally connect any app you want with any external tool that you need to connect. The plugin is really simple to use, very intuitive, and the user interface is very well crafted. In the video, I'm going to show you a few examples that you might find interesting and you might want to apply to your own workflows. Look at this one, for example. We have an Elementor Pro sign-up form, and I'm going to show you how you can easily connect it to Omnisend or to any other email marketing platform which is not already included in the default actions after submit provided by Elementor. We're going to see them how you can connect a simple contact form, in our case an Elementor one, to Google Sheets, so that you can collect all the data that you need and organize them well in this way. Then I will show you how you can collect and send all the data that you receive when someone submits an order on your WooCommerce website and send all the details to a dedicated Google Sheet. This is a very useful example in many different scenarios. I will also show you how you can create a guest post submission form, still using Elementor Pro, and all this using just the free version of Bit Integrations. With this kind of form, you will be able to allow your guest post users to submit their post and save it in draft mode in your backend. In my case, I have created a title field, an image field, and of course, the content field. All these integrations, as you will see, are pretty straightforward to set up using the simple interface of Bit Integrations, as we will see during the video. In the last part of this video, I'm also going to show you how I have used Bit Integrations Pro version to do a custom webhook connection. On my website, in fact, I have several different landing pages that I'm using to collect leads when I share with you some free resources. And all these pages are connected through a single template: logo, dynamic title, dynamic image, and dynamic Elementor form. Inside this form, there is the name, the email field, but there is also a group field, which works like a tag that I am applying to all my leads, so that I can easily know where they come from, which tutorial they watched, and most of all, which landing page is performing better. But to do so, it was impossible for me to use the standard Elementor and MailerLite integration, because I could only assign a static group field. But in my case, I wanted a dynamic one. Well, you'll discover how I did this in the last part of the video. And now, my daughter has a little favor to ask you.
Please subscribe to my daddy channel.
If you click on the subscribe button, you will be part of the small community of people that are watching my videos and are also subscribed. Congratulations! I head to my dashboard, I go to Plugins, Add Plugin, and I simply type Bit Integrations. I simply go and install the free version of Bit Integrations, which is here. It has more than 20,000 active installations, frequently updated and compatible with my WordPress version. So I go and install it, and I click on Activate. Here there is this message that says, "We hope you love Bit Integrations." If you want, you can click on Allow and Continue, or you can click on Skip. Now that the plugin is active, you can go and see it right here, Bit Integrations, and you can click on All Integration, Documentation and Support, Settings. Let's start from the settings. Sometimes you can see this pop-up that it will just inform you about the new features added in the latest update. Let's click on the X icon. And here, as we opted in, as you can see, we have the telemetry data that are being shared with Bit Integrations. And if you want to opt out, you just need to switch back to off. If you want to delete all the data of the plugin when you delete it, you can also enable this switch here, and you can also specify after how many days the old log will be deleted. If you have many different integrations and you want the log of all the different integrations to be saved only for a few days, you can enable this, let's say, for example, 7 days, and it will be saved automatically. Let's go now to documentation and support. Keep in mind that here in this tiny link, you will access the documentation of the plugin, which is very well done and very well crafted, and it will help you and guide you through each different connection that you might need to set up using triggers and actions on Bit integration. So keep an eye on this, and you also have all the support links down here if you need to use them. Let's go now to all integrations. That's where the magic happens. You can click on Create Integration and start creating your automations. As you can see here, we have a panoramic view of all the different triggers that you can use to start your integration. We can call it integration or automation. Even if it is just one-step automation, it is already an automation. And as you can see, there are some free triggers that you can use that are Bitform, Contact Form 7, Elementor Form, WooCommerce, and WP Forms. All the other integrations are in the Pro version, and if you need them, the pricing starts at $35 per year, so it's very affordable. As you can see, you can connect and integrate pretty everything in WordPress. Look, there is even WordPress user registration, Shortcart, Ninja Tables, Peepso, Spectra. You can even use an integration with WooCommerce membership or WooCommerce subscriptions or WooCommerce booking. All the most used plugins in WordPress are present in this list. And if you can't find your plugin, you just need to type here custom hook, and you can use the webhook as a trigger, but also as an action. Example number 1. Synchronizing our newsletter sign-up form created with Elementor with our Omnisend email marketing platform. So let's get started. We head to Bit Integrations, All Integrations, and we click on Create Integration. We can select, in our case here, Elementor, and we can fetch the data from our form. So we can simply click here on Form Submission, and we click on Fetch. This button will enable Bit Integrations to listen to any form submission on the website. So let's head to our form. I will fill it with my data. All right, and as soon as I sign up, when I go back to my Bit Integrations, I will see that the form submission has been fetched correctly. As you can see here, there is the form ID, the form post ID, the edit post ID, the name, and the email, which are the exact data that I have used to fill up my form. Let's set the action now. Look at how many actions I can perform here with the data that I have received through my Elementor form. If I want, I can connect it to Asana or to Brevo or to ClickUp, to ActiveCampaign. And if you scroll down, you will see all the different apps and plugins that you can use for this connection. We can just search for Omnisend, and there it is. We can connect it. And all this by using just the free version, as you can see. Here I'm going to write the name of the connection, and I'm going to paste inside here the API token that Omnisend will provide to me. I'm going to Omnisend, Store Settings, API, and I'm going to create a new API key that I will dedicate to this connection. I will call it Bit Integrations, all right, and I will create my API key, and then I will copy it and store it into a safe place because this is the only time that I will see it, of course. And now I will paste it inside the API token field. There it is. Let's authorize. I will see a success message here, and I can go on by clicking on Next. Now I need to map all the fields. So let's go on Channels and select if you want to use just email or if you want also to use SMS. In my case, I will just use email, the email status as subscribed. Great. The field map is going to be this one, very easy. The first one, of course, is the email field, which is the most important one. And the second field, it will be just a name. All right, I will map it with my first name on Omnisend. Right. Then if I want, I can also add some tags. I can create some tags if I want, just from here. For example, custom tag. All right, like this. And as soon as you press enter, this one is going to be saved. You can click on OK then, and you can go on next. That's it. We click on finish and save. Now we'll see this integration here into our integration list, and we can also enable or disable, and then we can access also the timeline, which is basically a log of all the events that happens inside this integration. Let's go and test it out. I'll go and sign up to my newsletter sign up form. Awesome, test@testing.com. Let's see if this user is going to be subscribed to my Omnisend account. Okay, the form has been successfully submitted. Let's go to Omnisend audience, and I will see that there it is. Awesome. Testing subscribed November 11. Great. And if I open up the lead, I also see that the custom tag that I have created has been correctly assigned. Now, if I go back to Bit Integrations and I click here on the actions, I can click on the timeline to see the log. And if I open up here, I see the response, which is correct. You see the email, the contact ID, and the first name, they have been correctly transferred to Omnisend. By the way, this is the integration log that you can control, of course, in the settings if you want to save all this data for a maximum number of days, helping you to reduce the dimension of your log. When we go back to our integrations, we can easily go and edit the integration if we need to do so. You can also open up the info about the integration, for example, the API info or something else, and then you can edit or delete. Let's go on now with our second example. Example number 2. I'm going to connect a contact form with a Google Sheet. Let's say that I want to collect all the data of my participants to my event, for example, and I want them to be all collected and organized into my Google Sheet. In this case, in my example, I have built my form using Elementor Forms, but you can achieve the same result using any of the form integrations provided by Bit Integrations. As you can see here, you have Elementor Form, Bitform, Contact Form 7, DV Form, and also WP Forms, Ninja Forms, Shore Forms, you name it. So in this example, let's see how you can connect your Elementor Form to your Google Sheets. Once you have created your form, let's head to Bit Integrations, and let's click on Create Integration. We're going to select as a trigger Elementor Form, so we click on Elementor, and we type Form, and we click on Form Submission. We fetch the form, we're going to now fill our form, we send the message, and when the form is submitted, we can go back to our integrations and we will see all the data. So we have the form ID, the post and edit ID, the name, email, and message, and it's all working fine. Let's set now the action. In our case, the action will be the connection with Google Sheets. So we're going to type inside here Sheet, and we see Google Sheet integration. Okay, this is an advanced integration that it's available already for free if you're using the connection with Elementor Form. And it's a little bit tricky to connect because you have to set up a client ID and a secret using Google API Console. But luckily, we have a great documentation, and when you click here, how to set up Google Sheets integration, you will have a step-by-step tutorial that will take just 7 minutes to follow that you can use to set up your own Google API connection. Once you finish the setup, you can head here to the client ID and you paste inside here the client ID that you obtained by following the steps that are highlighted in the documentation of Bit Integrations, and then you copy also the client secret. Now that we have the client ID and secret in place, we can click on Authorize. Here I can choose an account to continue. I will see some errors because this app is not being verified, but in my case, I do not need to verify it since I'm just using it internally. And I will click on here, Advanced, and then I will click on Go to make yourecommerce.com, which is my website in this case, to make my connection. So let's go and do that. Let's go and click here on Continue, and it's going to connect to Google Sheets. Perfect, you see? Authorization successful, great. So this has been authorized now. I can click on Next. Now let's go and select our spreadsheet, WP Roads tutorial. All right. Here I can select my worksheet, Elementor Form Data Collection. And the first row is going to be the header row, and it's going to be set by default. So basically it's going to be the header that I'm going to use to insert all the header data. And then I'm going to collect all those data. So basically based on this value here, I will be able here to see all my fields, my Google fields. And here I have my form fields. Let's say that I want to collect first my form ID, for example, this one. Then I want to select a different field here. I want to connect it with the actual form ID. Perfect. Then I'm going on here. I'm going to select the name of the user, and I'm going to select the name. Then there is also the date field, as you can see here. And when you have Bit Integrations Pro, you will get access to all the general smart codes, as you can see here, like the current date, administrator email, and some other dynamic value that you can insert from your website directly. But in my case, I will just keep it simple, and I will go on and connect just the email field and the message field. Let's go on here and do it like this. Let's click on Next. All right, and now I can finish and save. Now what happens when someone fills the form here on the website, I should be able to see immediately, instantaneously, all those data collected in my Google Sheet. Let's see if this is going to happen correctly. I'm going to reload the page here, and I'm going to fill my contact form. Let's go and send the contact form. All right, and if I go here and open up my Google Sheet, it's working fine, except the data because it's part of Bit Integrations Pro. But in this case, you see, I have my form ID, I have the name of my user, the email, and the message. It's working perfectly. Example number 3. I want to show you now how you can connect your WooCommerce order data to a Google Sheet so that you will be able to collect all the data that you need for your accounting purposes. We can go to our integrations and we can click on Create Integration. And now we're just going to select WooCommerce. As you can see, it's still part of the free version of the plugin, which is cool. And we can select what will happen, what will be the trigger here to make our action happen. The action is going to be to store some data into our Google Sheets, and the trigger is going to be when an order is created. If you have the Pro version of Bit Integrations, you can also choose as a trigger the order status set to completed, which makes sense in this case because when an order is completed is when you actually want to store all the data on your Google Sheets. But for our example, we're just going to use order created, okay? And we're going to click on Next. Great. Now we're going to connect everything to our Google Sheets. As I was mentioning before, to do this connection, you need to create client ID and client secret by following the steps provided into the documentation by clicking here, how to set up Google Sheets integration. You have to follow here step by step all the instructions, and in a couple of minutes, you will be able to have this integration ready to get started. Here I have an error message. They say that this should be normal because it is the same thing that happens also in the documentation when you follow step by step. And we click here on Advanced and we go to Make Your E-commerce, which is my website in this case. And I can proceed here, scroll down, and I continue to make this integration, which, by the way, this error message is just me that I'm going to see it, of course, as an administrator, because once this is all connected, there's not going to be any error message anymore. So let's click on Next. We can select here our spreadsheet, which is going to be this one in my case. Inside here, I have a worksheet that is called WooCommerce Google Sheets Connection, which is this one here. And I have already created my header, you see, with all the different data that I want to collect. And I can go here and select the fields. These are all the fields provided by WooCommerce. So I can use as a first field, for example, the order ID. And I'm going to match it here with my order ID field in my Google Fields. I go on here by selecting, for example, now I have what else? The order date. And I go here and I am putting here the created date created. Then I go here and I will select what I have here, the customer full name or the customer first name, for example. I can go customer first name. Then I have my customer email and so on. Billing email. Then I have the country, product names, total amount, and total tax amount. Okay, I have all my fields mapped here. If I want to be more specific, I can even enable a conditional logic, which is pretty powerful. And then I can click on Next. All right, now I can finish and save my integration, and I will be able to place an order, and I will see all the data being populated here automatically. Let's go and do that together. I'm going to add a few products to the cart. Then I'm going to place an order, check out. I have all my data here in place. Perfect. I have my test mode. I can go and place my test order. Let's go and do that. Place order. Right. Thank you for your purchase. If you want to learn how to create a beautiful e-commerce like this one, I will leave you the link of my full tutorial in the description box down below on how to create a great e-commerce website using Elementor Pro and WooCommerce. Now, when we go to our Google Sheets, we will see the order ID, Pascal, WP Roads, country, Italy, all the products that I have purchased, the amount, and all the rest of the data that I wanted to collect, and it's working perfectly. As you can see, there are no tags because they are not configured for that specific checkout, and all the rest is working perfectly. Let me check here. For example, I have my order ID 2455, and it's the same that I have here, so it's correct. Great. And this integration can be useful in many different cases and scenarios. If you want to check out the log, you just need to open up the timeline and you go here and see if all the data is being passed correctly to Google Spreadsheets, and you see some messages if there is something that is going wrong, of course. Here it says that the status is success, and you can check out the log, of course, each time there is something that is not working as expected. Now I have created a custom form that I'm using to receive some guest posts on my website. And there is a post title field, a text area field with all the content of my post, and then a featured image URL field. So basically with this simple form, I can click on send post and any logged in user will be able to send me a guest post, and it will be saved in draft mode so that I can go and check it out and then I can hit the publish button. Let me go and show you how this is going to work. I'm going to send the post. And of course, you can do the same configuration also with a custom post type, for example. If you're collecting reviews or if you want your users to create any kind of post, you can use this configuration. Okay, so now the post was successfully submitted, all right. And if I go to my integrations, I see that this is the integration that is going to run in the backend. Then if I go in my post list and I refresh the page, I will see my post right here. This is my post title. As you can see, it is in draft mode because I selected like that. I can have a preview. I see my title here, my featured image, the content of the post, and then the comment section. This is beautiful, right? So I can let people submit guest posts, or as I was mentioning before, even reviews or any other kind of custom post type that you are allowing your users to create on your website. And all this, in my case, using Elementor Form and the WordPress post creation action. And this integration, it's already available in the free version of Bit Integrations. Let me show you quickly how to set up this kind of automation. You click on Create Integration, then you select Elementor in my case, but you can select, of course, any other form. You click on Form Submission, you fetch the form submission. In this case, it's going to be this one. I send the post and I wait here for the form submission. Okay, it has been fetched. You just need to check that all the fields are correctly mapped, and then you select the action. The action in my case will be just WP form creation, post creation, sorry, this one. WP post creation, and here you can create any kind of custom post types or just simple posts that you have on your website. In my case, in fact, I will select posts. I will change the name of my integration here. All right. Then I select the post status. I wanted the post to be saved as a draft, so this is perfect. Then I need to select the author. I can use the logged in user, or I can select a specific author if I need to do so. In my case, I suppose that the users that are going to submit their guest post are also being logged in, so they have an account on my website. Then here I can select the comment status. I will leave it open in my case. If I have the pro version, I can also add tags to my posts, and then I can go on with the field mapping. Look what happens here. I see all the form fields and I can map it to the post fields. So I will map the title here, which is going to be the post title. Then I'll go on here with the post text, so the content basically. All right. If I want, I can also map the post excerpt or the featured image. In my case, I have a featured image URL, which is this one, and I will use it by mapping it like this. Clicking on next, I will see that there are many other fields that I can map if I'm using ACF, for example, or Metabox or Jet Engine, and I can even apply a conditional logic. Now here I can click on next and I can finish and save, and my form is ready to collect guest posts. Awesome, right? So now when I fill the form here, I will see the post appearing like this. And when I'm ready, I can hit on publish, and that's it. Now another very advanced example. In my MailerLite account, I have several different groups that I'm using to monitor and to keep track of the performance of my landing pages. On my website, I have several landing pages. As you can see here, these are all links to my main landing pages that I connect to my tutorials. So, for example, this is the landing page that I'm using to collect leads. So when some of my followers subscribes here, in this case, they'll get access to some free resources that they can use to animate their buttons with glow and shimmering effects. Now, since I'm creating a lot of different landing pages, as you can see here, I need to manage them all in a centralized template using Elementor in this case. In fact, if I click on any of these landing pages now, I'm using the same template, with a logo here, the title, the image, and the opt-in. The problem here is if I use the standard integration with MailerLite provided by Elementor, I cannot pass the group dynamically. Basically, I will be able to assign a single group to all the subscribers to all my different landing pages. And in this way, I want to be able to know which landing page is performing better. But in my case, I want my subscribers to be assigned to my different groups based on the tutorial that they are following, based on the landing page that they are signing up to. So, using Bit integrations, I have created a connection between Elementor Form and MailerLite using a custom webhook. Let me show you how this is going to work. I create the integration, I use my Elementor Form, I select Form Submission, I go and fetch it, and when the form has been fetched, I can click on Set Action, and now it's where the magic happens. Using Bit Integrations Pro, you can use custom webhooks. As you can see here, I have this action that I can set up, and when I do that, I can change the name. In my case, it will be Advanced MailerLite integration, because if you use the standard MailerLite integration, you won't be able to assign dynamically the group to the user. And in this case, you're going to copy and paste here the link of your webhook, which is the MailerLite integration API. All right, the method is going to be post, and we're going to change the headers and body to contain all the data that we need to pass to MailerLite. In my case, I have the authorization, including here my API key. I have the content type, the accept, and then I have the body. I have used ChatGPT to create all this configuration here by providing the screenshots of the bit integrations and asking what I needed to do. And it provided me with this simple code that I can use as a simple row JSON, but all the data that I'm going to communicate to MailerLite. As you can see here, between the different fields, we also have the group field, which is the most important one for me right now, because I want it to be communicated dynamically to my MailerLite. So when you finish configuring your headers and your body, you can click on Save, and your configuration will be live. So basically, each time now subscribe to your Elementor form. Let me show you what happens. I'll call this test, testingpascal.com, subscribe and access. Okay, here are all my resources. And in the backend, when I go to MailerLite, if I check in my subscribers, I see that I have my testing Pascal, so my user has been subscribed correctly. I can see the name, and I can see the group link in bio animations. That's great. In our case, we used the custom webhook as an action, but you can also use a custom webhook as a trigger, so you can basically achieve whatever you want. Any type of connection of integrations that you imagine, you can achieve it using Bit Integrations Pro. Let me know if you enjoyed this video by hitting the thumbs up button, and comment if you need more videos about this topic. I will be more than happy to create them for you. My name is Pascal, this is WP Roads, the YouTube channel where I share with you my passion and knowledge about WordPress. So make sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. And here I will leave you my latest video about Bitflows. Bitflows is another plugin created by the same team of Bit Integrations, but it is perfect for more advanced and AI-based automations and workflows. And you can connect to apps that has nothing to do with WordPress. Go and check it out here. And I wish you all the best with all your WordPress projects. Ciao, ciao!